networks engage non-governmental players in the creation of government policy. Again, extraordinary. Government policy throughout all of history was created by governments. They may have, collaborated or got input from citizens, typically at the end of a process. But now we have networks that are multi-stakeholder that create important policies that are being adopted by governments or by global institutions around the world. Now, unlike governments, these networks have power, but not formal power. They can't enact laws, raise taxes, use military force. And they may or may not be created or even encouraged by formal governments or by a government. But policy networks are really changing the landscape of global policy development and decision-making. In a representative democracy, citizens participate in governance by voting, but their expertise is seldom sought in the arena of public policy, where the gap between citizens and the international governing bodies is large. So globalization and digital connectedness is changing the rules of citizen involvement and impacting the role of government leaders accustomed to holding the reins of power. Now, at the city or regional or state level, the old industrial model was you vote and I rule. We created representative democracy, but there was a weak public mandate and citizens were inert. We can now move to a new model of global policy making and democracy that's based on stronger representation, but a culture of public deliberation and active citizenships. Now, policy networks offer an alternative form for policy innovation. Participants from any discipline, business, think tanks, academia, NGOs, even traditional governments, bring a range of skill, experience, perspective, and resources, which allows for experimentation and innovation and forward-thinking policy development. One example, and it was a global one, it was a policy network called Habitat Jam. It was a 3-day digital brainstorm on urban sustainability. It's a one-time event, partnership between the Canadian government, IBM, and the United Nations Entitlement Program. This thing went over 72 hours and it was facilitated by a number of subject matter experts. Basically an online discussion with thousands, actually tens of thousands of participants from all different sectors of society. And they were strategizing about access to clean water, environmental sustainability, and governance in expanding urban areas. The event even demonstrated that it's possible to engage thousands of individuals in a discussion on global issues, and it was very significant. Now, it wasn't a long-term GSN, it was a GSN that lasted for a short period of time. But pop-up GSNs can be just as important as a GSN that's permanent. Collaborative forecasting with another one of these networks called Our Urban Future. This is a project that uses an open platform that allows users to adjust key variables in order to examine the impact of alternate investment strategy scenarios on urbanization challenges. Accelerated by digital interconnectedness, local can become global. And these digital conversations are helping to set agendas on global issues of climate change, food security, economic polarization. These networks can be web forums, wikis fostering discussion, debate, and collaborative editing of policy, while social media connects individuals with common goals and interests. Engaged citizens develop competencies. They participate in using these tools. Politicians can facilitate the discourse, build relationships. Public servants develop a process and provide a feedback loop. And these are roles for thought leaders, professionals, civic associations, and media that are enabled by this new environment. Moving forward, advanced tools will enable citizens to track and evaluate the decision-making processes that affect their lives, not just to develop the policy, but track its implementation. International competition policy is now developed by a policy network, a global policy network that's multi-stakeholder, but it's being adopted by states. So multi-stakeholder policy networks offer an alternative to policy development and the old paradigm that can help access some of the challenges besetting governments. And I'd say even with superior capacity for organizational networking and policy creation, these policy networks are emerging as the leading organizational form for enabling greater innovation, agility, and citizen participation in policy making. Think of policy as a pie rather than as a process with citizen engagement at the end. Think of in the middle of the pie as citizen engagement, and all of the different elements in creating a policy surround that. It's also something where execution and creation can be more tightly linked. When a government holds a challenge or a global institution holds a challenge, it's actually creating and implementing a policy at the same time, because the results can be new public value created in a new model. Policy networks, changing the way that we create and implement policy.